There we go. Hello and welcome to another episode of Tears Don't Fall, the show where every month we pick a band and subject one another to its entire discography and then present you, the viewer, with our own subjective tiered lists and get you to vote on whose is objectively correct. I'm Connor O'Kane.
I'm Luke Ashley.
And this month, it's an audience pick.
I'm very excited.
Audience votes, and y'all voted for System of a Down.
Yes.
Very exciting.
This is a band that we've discussed hitting on TDF. Do you want to know who's going to do it first?
Yeah, definitely.
And you beat us to the punch.
And
we were both winding up. It took a while.
Yeah.
So
forget about it. If you hadn't, done it. Ugh. So System. I'm curious to hear the chat's experience with this band and
yes.
where they're coming to these guys from. But where are you coming to System?
Well, they're a truly ubiquitous project.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, they changed the landscape of new metal, and I'd say metal as a whole, even their own country's political landscape.
I'd go as far as to say, like, alternative music as an even wider umbrella.
Yes, absolutely. And what you could, in any other case, you might call 5 albums over 7 years a flash in the pan, if not for the just landslide success that System of a Down have experienced and the massive influence that they've had on many people, many prolific artists to come. They've had numerous platinums, numerous golds on, well, really every album they've released in America and worldwide. It's remarkable.
Yeah, if not immediately, then, as the years have gone by.
For myself, my first exposure to System of a Down when they struck their first chord with me was Chop Suey, of course. Yes. And I would have been 13 at the time, I want to say. Guitar Hero 2 had just come out. I was a little slow on it. Yeah. I don't think I couldn't afford a controller in the game at the time. And so I was looking for free mediums online, and I was jumping on a bunch of Dance Dance Revolution style flash games.
Ah, cool.
And Chop Suey was all over those, or that, or BYOB.
Yeah.
They were like easy picks for that format of game. So I'd be jamming along to songs and would start connecting the dots on, oh, this is the same artist, System of a Down. They sound really interesting. Like, I know these songs from maybe Newgrounds clips and hadn't queued onto where they were from. And I first digested Toxicity and beyond that, Mezmerize, I think I would have gone to, because they were the albums these tracks were off. And I feel like the rest of the world did just that as well. It didn't take long for System of a Down to be one of the go-to bands for pre-teens and teens in around like early to pre-2000s.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, yourself, Connor?
Well, to follow on that, I think they're one of the few bands kind of that era that had that effect on people, that there's a distinct lack, I think, from damn near anyone, of like guilt over that fondness or like association with their teen years. Korn was a band that I got into at a similar point, and it's a band that I am honestly scared to revisit in the context of this segment if we ever do it, because I'll have to take a real fucking hard look at 13, 14-year-old Connor. Yeah. And I'm not sure I'm ready for it. I don't think I will be ready for it. But
we can't handle that much hair. No.
But System of a Down, around the same time, I think around 13 or 14 years old as well. Same thing, heard Chop Suey, and it was on the heavier side of the stuff that I was starting to listen to. Certainly on the more like frenetic and aggro side of things. And as much as I found that kind of a little bit disarming and almost a little bit frightening, I think around that time I'd started to get into Slipknot a little bit. But System of a Down with that kind of Armenian twist, I don't know, it had this, I mean, for lack of a better word, foreign quality that made it kind of alien, and I didn't understand it, and it was, weird, but compelling at the same time. Eventually got into Mezmerize, pretty much the same trajectory as you. The rest is history. They're a band that I really I like a lot. This was an opportunity to get into some of their stuff that I had spent less time with, and I learnt a few things about myself, which we'll get into as we go through the discography, I think.
I don't know if I'm ready for that. Okay,
Yeah.
I guess this is a 2-hour segment. We're doing therapy with O'Keefe.
It always turns out that way. Let's see what chat thinks. Penny says System of a Down was my gateway to metal. I think it is for many people. I think it's also where a lot of people stop, but will proudly tout that they like System of a Down. Like, you can talk to Uber drivers if you're wearing like a death metal tee and they go, you know death metal stuff? And you're like, yeah, no, I like that System of a Down. Like, everybody likes System of a Down. Kale says, so it is new metal, my elitist friend.
Fine, alternative metal 2000s. I don't know what to tell you.
Geordie says, I was introduced to Soad from my dad. Oh, fuck yeah, cool.
Sick.
That's dope. Daydream, first heard Soad when I was 15, heard Sugar on a Crusty Demons compilation. My interest in them wasn't until I played BYOB several times on Guitar Hero World Tour, but nice. Nice. It's extremely difficult to find another band that unequivocally sounds adjacent to System of a Down. They're the embodiment of what one of a kind means. Yeah, definitely. I mean, to the point where anytime you hear a band that even lands on the outskirts of the ballpark that they operate in, you kind of go, oh, they're doing System. It's not,
but not as well. I can't think of any other artist that apes System.
The only other artist I've ever heard and drawn a really distinct comparison to is Maximum the Hormone.
I was going to say Japan. Has a few bands that emulate the erratic nature.
Yeah.
Maximum the Hormone is certainly one of them.
Yeah, first time I heard What Up People, I was like, oh, this is System Nippon edition. Let's have a look here. Gary says, I think Channel V was my exposure to Soad. Wow, fuck. Remember music channels? They still exist?
Yeah, they do. On Twitch.
Welcome. Oh,
this
fuck.
is what they look like now.
Can we get a V sponsorship? I just want some kind of Gamer Fuel
we
sponsorship.
just sponsor ourselves. Yeah. How it's done now.
Well, shit, my cat pissed on the floor. I'm going to be back in a minute. Okay, Kale, enjoy. Dear.
Straight to YouTube, folks.
Goodness me, Jack, thank you very much for the raid. Hello, everyone. Hope you like System of a Down, because that's what we're going to be talking. Daydream says, yes, Maximum the Hormone are poggers. They are poggers.
I don't know if we can say that on YouTube either. That's Twitch.
Poggers? Ooh, no. Oh, does Twitch have like an exclusivity?
24-hour exclusivity.
All right, nobody say poggers for 48 hours. All right, well, let's get stuck into it then.
Let's go.
Now, we're going to be alternating a little bit here. Yeah.
So I'll take the first album, you drive the second, I'll do the third, etc.
Yeah.
I love that because just as I was saying, the two albums I started on are the second and fourth, which you'll be driving.
Yes.
Which means I get to shit all over the first, third, and fifth. And that is absolutely, unequivocally my favourite thing to do in this segment.
Hey, that works for me.
I just love artists just putting their lived experiences, their finances, their passion, their future, their past, their love, their effort, their talent into this music, just for a suburban white male to go, album bad. Yeah, it's my favourite thing.
All right, well, let's all get ready to clap and laugh along. Let's do it.
Oh yeah. So let's kick things off with System of a Down's debut album. Connor, what is it called?
System of a Down. It's
self-titled.
self-titled.
That's clever.
They're doing the thing that you said that they can do.
Yes.
Remember, self-titled albums, you can only do it for your first album
or for your magnum opus.
Or for your magnum opus.
That's it. Or what if it's both?
I like it when bands do funny things and release their worst album like 10 years into their career and it's a self-titled album.
Thanks, Rammstein. No, that was okay.
No, that was Killswitch.
It was absolutely Killswitch.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right. So, System of a Down's self-titled.
Mm-hmm.
This is an album that I wasn't too familiar with. I'd say maybe the first half, like you hear Sweet Pea, I'd say Sweet Pea and probably Sugar.
Oh, Sugar, absolutely. Yeah.
Alternative, okay, fine, not new metal. Alternative metal, 2000 staples. Or in this case, 1998. This album has easily been my highest rotation spin of the month. And it's really grown on me. I've given a big A for Armenia on this one.
Oh, that's nice.
I am pretty floored. I'd say hands down, but the cover's hands up. on the quality of this as a debut release and the backing that System have off the bat is fairly symbolic of that. For a debut release produced by Rick Rubin is just massive. We're talking co-founder of Def Jam Records and at this point president of Columbia Records. Absolutely huge. I don't think there are many bigger names in the business at this point in time. To have him and spoilers producing their discography is pretty incredible, and it's hard to fail that. However, that doesn't mean that there's going to be a unique element to it, and that's where Serge's production as well elevates this from what could be them finding their sound to them already solidifying their sound. I'd say there isn't as much influence in the Darren Malakian material here. It feels very Serge driven.
Yeah.
And it's far more raw in its production, its songwriting. So the songs are a little more one tone. If there's a more sensitive song such as Spiders, which is wonderful, that song is fairly sensible the whole way through. There aren't as many straight through lines for this album. A few of them are if they are going to be straight millennium metal, they will do that for the duration. So it does still characterize all of System of a Down's qualities, but in individual bite-sized portions. And whenever spinning this record, I find myself going, oh yes, this song. And I went from, this song to, oh yes, it's Peephole, it's Cuba, it's Darts. Learning this album over this month has been a really exciting venture. And this is easily, I'd say now, currently my favorite System album, which has really surprised me. It's certainly the one I will go to because I feel like I can still learn the most from it, because it sits in a nice quality between being exciting and, to me, still somewhat fresh material that I can still pick out something new every time I listen to it, and that's still a joy to listen to. Congrats for this being a debut release. It's really impressive. Connor, please.
I can follow you for the most part there. It is yet another auspicious 90s alternative / metal debut. There's no shortage of them. I mean, we've talked about a lot of them in the case of Slipknot and Machine Head. And things do get off to a real rip-roaring start with Sweet Pea, followed by No and Sugar. But my problem is that by track 3, I can't really recall how those first 2 songs went. And I think I found this to be a really impatient listen for me. I think it's kind of a symptom of knowing how the System story goes and knowing what's to come and just wanting to get to...
Really?
Just wanting to get to the career-defining stuff as far as I see it, and the real goated material. However, putting myself in the mindset of someone hearing this in 98, fuck man, it must have been a very curious but exciting breath of fresh air. The Armenian influences and the almost I don't know this material well enough to say this unequivocally, so I'd love to hear your input on it, but I hear what I assume are Zappa-isms all over this thing.
Certainly.
Idiosyncrasies that keep things sounding fresh and frenetic for its 40-minute runtime. You really never know where this album's going. But that kind of leads to that with the feeling of I want to get to the next stuff, has me not enjoying the listening experience as much as I wish I was. I think hearing you rate it so highly, I feel like I need to spend more time with this album, because at the moment it sits at a B for me.
Wow.
Okay. I really like Serge's vocal approach is awesome, but I do prefer the Malakian stuff that comes in later. And here I think at times it's almost, it's part of the package, but his approach is almost deliberately annoying at times. It's like a kid, it's like a kid at assembly, and the guy's going around with a mic and being like, and what do you think, Billy? And then the kid next to Billy grabs the mic and just goes into it, and you're like, fuck off, you...
Dude, have you heard the live material from this album on the special edition?
No, I didn't fuck.
Oh my god, Darren's vocals all over it. Yeah. Just that. It's like ear R-word edition.
Yeah.
That's insane.
I think if I was considering this album strictly in a bubble, I would rate it as an A album. But in the context of what's to come, in the context of this discography, it lacks real hooks and things for me to remember at this point. Although some highlights, I really like Peephole and Darts. And
Peephole is my favourite song at the moment.
Yeah, wow. Okay, cool.
Currently, it won't be forever, but for now, it's
I guess
it sounds like a circus on PCP.
Yeah,
I love it. It's crazy.
I mean, Sugar obviously is a sick track.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's where I'm at with it. I am curious.
You don't really rate Sweet Pea? I feel like that's
I like
staple.
Sweet Pea. I like Sweet Pea more as I've heard the album. I think I was comparing it to other opening tracks from their discography, and I felt like it didn't really stand up as highly.
If you put things against B.I.O.B., what are you going to do?
This is the thing. Yeah. This is my problem. I think I need to kind of spend a bit more time with this album, develop a bit more of a relationship with it, and consider it on its own merits instead of checking the watch and thinking, when do we get to Toxicity? Yeah. Anyway, let's have a look at the chat. I want to hear other people's experience with this album. With regards to Rick Rubin, I think Adam is saying Run the Jewels are doing pretty well with that, or is that with regards to their output being so consistent in a short amount of time? Let's have a look here.
Run the Jewels.
This goes very tight.
Really fast.
This rating is interesting to me. What do you think, Rubik's Cube? I'm curious to hear what you think.
Yeah, interesting is always an interesting choice. So when someone says something's interesting, I'm like, well, that's negative gearing.
Hey, Tundra's on my side with this one. Fuck yeah.
I lose these. Guys, please give Connor the W today. I really can't keep another belt in my closet. That's full. So many skeletons in there that I can only fit so many belts.
DJ Rubik's Cube, fuck me dead. DJ Rubik's Cube would have gone with an A. All right, yep, that's fair. By the way, hey, shouts out to Mr. Vo himself.
Thank you for Rags this week. This was absolutely amazing to have.
Jack says, I'm not the biggest Soad fan, but no music, just anger always gets me. Yeah, it's again one of those songs that you are guaranteed to put on in a club and have people lose their mind to. All right, shall we move on? You're doing
it here even. You cannot keep it in your pants.
What do you mean?
That's toxic, Connor.
Yeah, it is.
You want to show me what it looks like?
Yeah, I'm here for it. Look at that, man.
Yeah,
look at that. This is the toxicity I'm here for, dude. I fucking adore this album. Let's fucking
go
be
on
upfront with this. I think that this. I'm going to get my IGN on this one. All right, there is something for everyone on this album.
You're giving this a solid 7.8 out of 10.
Yeah, too much water. There's something for everyone on this album, dude. You want songs about drug addiction? You got it. You want songs about mass incarceration? You bet. Orgies and groupies, System's got you covered. Do you think Charles Manson didn't get a fair trial? Well, these Armenian Beach Boys have got a song for you, and it makes for a fucking S-tier album, baby. This is no secret. It's fucking wonderful. There isn't a track on here that doesn't at least have one moment that I like and look forward to hearing again. It's 44 minutes that just flies by. I mean, out the gates, Prison Song starts and then stops and then starts and then stops and finally starts things off with this hyper-concentrated dose of their unique blend of blasts, breakdowns, and sardonic bile, prepping the listener for everything that's to come very effectively.
I feel like that track's only gotten more relevance as time's gone on. Like, they state the level of incarceration since 1985. And I feel like it's that's something that every year becomes more prominent.
Look, I haven't done my research, but I revel in the opportunity to say that X is more relevant today than it was when it came out. So sure, wasting zero time. I feel like this album, the tracks that follow are just as effective and propulsive. Needles and Dear Dance are fucking awesome.
Dear Dance is fucking amazing.
Oh god, and I think they highlight their newfound. I don't know if it was, an appreciation they had on 98, but I think it's lacking on the 98 release. Their appreciation for actually writing earworms and hooks and choruses that stick with you. The tracks are no less furious for that either. It's not like they're sacrificing furiosity and vitriol for, a single. If anything, they're more so. But I think the consolidated approach and the focus means no song goes by without leaving an impression, making repeat listens not only a must, but a pleasure. Fucking perfect album. There's not a song on here I don't like. and I couldn't enjoy the first album because of it.
God, you're a fucking jerk.
What do you mean?
But you're lucky because it's an S for Psycho, my man.
Yeah.
Whee!
Well, you gonna want to check your spelling on that?
No,
okay.
I'm certain. Say it with me. Psycho.
Oh, it's there.
Yeah. Come on. This guy.
We're on the internet.
He doesn't know. He doesn't.
We've got a podcast on the internet. We can't be stupid.
Yeah, we don't have spell check over the mic. It's fine.
Holy shit! Let's get text to speech spell check. It just constantly interrupts it. All right, thoughts. Give me
thoughts. It's wonderful across the board. This is when I think Millennium, this is the 4x4 image that comes to mind.
Yeah,
like it's a delight.
Yeah, this is definitely one of those
really
albums that defined that era of alternative music.
Absolutely. There's, I think every song except perhaps Atwa feels a little like Soldier Side at home, but that's okay because Soldier Side hasn't been released yet. So I feel like that gets refined down the track.
Yeah.
Everything else on this album is never exceeded in what it does by themselves or anyone else. You can't get much better than that. The production is so tight on this release.
Oh, yeah.
Compared to their self-titled. Self-titled, I really enjoy the production of, but it certainly has a lack of musicianship when it really counts, I think. Here, it's far more intentional when they want to play badly. Like, oh, I know that you're doing that. Like, it's not a question of, oh, these guys aren't really so tight yet. And System are excellent with that, with choosing their moments where they want to play off key or have a really just loose and erratic solo and hit a few bung notes to characterize the solo. It's so fun. And it's so iconic. You can't... I'd be surprised for anyone not to love System of a Down. And I know a few people in my family don't, and it's always baffled me, who are otherwise into metal, even in this era. It just shows that you can't trust people. Because you can trust this album. This is an album you can set your watch to, dude.
You absolutely can.
Yeah.
100%. I think chat concurs. Daydream Deluxe Toxicity belongs strictly on the S tier. Any other tier is more wrong than having Jared Leto be a part of a comic book movie. Jack says, Toxicity was my first SOAD experience. Had my first experience with anything harder than AC/DC in my dad's CD case. Has a special place in my heart. Oh, that's nice. Adam says they toured Big Day Out for the 2002. Oh, wow, off Toxicity. And it was weird because it was the year after the Limp Bizkit incident. Because of this, they whacked them on mid-Arvo and security was beefed up. Man, bummer. Interesting, though. That would have been amazing to see.
Seeing System of a Down live was a bucket list thing for me. I never thought it would happen. And when did you catch them as well?
Yes, that was like 2013, I think.
Yeah, it was something I never... Yeah, I just wrote off of going, well, at this point, they haven't performed live for years, and a 6-year hiatus is somewhat damning. So even though they would go on for a 15-year writing hiatus, for them to come to Australia and perform was just a life highlight for me.
Felt like we were very lucky to get that.
Yeah, supported by kindred TDF performers, Slipknot, Machine Head, maybe a few others as well.
Oh yeah, we have a type.
Well, yeah.
Adam says, funnier was they had the crowd waiting too long the night before and came out to chants of hurry up, cunts. That's awesome. Australian audiences do not fuck around. Magello says, love this album. Fuck yeah. Good memories of playing Toxicity with my band, says Kale. Nice.
Yes.
Agree with this very much so, says DJ Rubik's Cube. Let's have a look.
Thank you,
else. Here we go. Rubik's Cube also says, I love how Serge burned MGK for his cover of Toxicity.
Oh, really?
I have to look this up.
I need to see this.
Tundra says, love the singles but can't get into the deep cuts.
What's a deep cut on Toxicity?
Well, that's the thing. I feel
maybe
like
Forest?
Maybe Forest, but like... let's have a look at the track listing just really.
Yeah, I don't know what even constitutes a deep cut for this album.
I don't know, man. I feel like what you might call a deep cut, so like Bounce, maybe Jet Pilot, maybe Atwa, maybe Science, Shimmy.
To me, they are all single worthy.
Yeah, that's the thing.
It feels like an album of singles, which is so hard to do.
Yeah.
In my book, at least.
Yeah, 15 bangers in 44 minutes.
Make it cohesive and interesting.
Yeah,
list of singles the whole way through.
And ending
it tells a story.
Yeah, ending it, having the last track still feel like a single, but also have a sense of finality about it, and wrap the album up in a really satisfying way. Fucking A. 2012, sorry, it was. Elraisin, thank you very much. Yeah. 2012, we saw them live. Prison Song opener with a curtain drop was pretty fun. And Rubik's Cube, thank you so much for the gift subs as well. We really appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, dude, Bounce slaps. All right, well, your turn, baby.
Well, bounce on. All right, we're getting there, chat. We're getting there.
We're going to be finished.
You're going to see
within an hour.
When you hear us say that, look at the thumbnail and it says 1 hour and 9 minutes. You're like, oh, these fools, these damn fools.
That's hubris. Right.
Oh yeah. All right, we're moving forward to 2002. Now, we do not buy here, chat. We only steal this album. And gotta say, this is System turned up to 11 for me. This is System being larger than life. I feel like everything that they do is in every way, good and bad. Just a cartoonish variant of the band. For better and worse. Serge reaches into his art sack, but he does end up leaving me with B-tiered blue balls. I'm curious as to hear what you all think, chat, because this is the album I was least familiar with. And I know a bunch of my friends had this on regular rotation when I was growing up, but I never quite got it. It always, stuff like Chicken Stew is not the System that really grabs me. That might surprise a few, considering how I love that cartoonish band.
Yeah.
But, I know there's only once System get into food, they start to lose me. Like everything else I love, but once they get into food, I'm like, I don't know.
It's funny.
Yeah. But and everything is I'd say the everything's so politically charged, but in a very transparent way. This album is just transparent all the way through. I feel in its topics. And it's just blown out of proportion to a point that I go back to Toxicity and go, they are. It makes Toxicity subtle, which is I don't know, like wow, that's a feat.
Yeah, I feel
so. Congratulations on doing that. Still, this album. That being said, this album has some fantastic highlights. Boom is a staple. I don't know if it's a live staple, but it's a staple for myself. It's a 36. It's so goddamn good. I love that. The first half of this album has been a treat to familiarize myself with, and it's, I think, potentially the closest I'll ever get to getting into a new System of a Down album for myself. Or having that experience. Sure. There was a surprising amount on here that I had not heard before. At least with the debut album, I've gone, oh, it's this song. You know? Whereas here, it felt like a new album, but as if someone had characterized it, perhaps.
Cool.
Still, this album is probably a good title. I might not buy it. I'd probably torrent it. Yeah.
I will say it did take me until maybe 2 or 3 years ago to actually buy this album.
Yeah.
But you want to hear my alternate title?
Go on.
Skip this album.
Hey,
Okay, so consisting of re-recorded material from the Toxicity writing sessions.
There's like 30 songs cut to 14.
Yeah, which they insist are of the same quality of the tracks on Toxicity. I disagree. I think as a package, this lacks the same sense of cohesion and distinctly lacks the sense of propulsion that Toxicity had in spades. The Chicken Stew, starting with that, it sounds like a parody of System of a Down. Like, have you seen those memes where it's like how to write like System of a Down lyrics and it's just like utter nonsense about like food and then screaming and then something political and then more screaming. Like it's that. It's and then followed by Inversion, which is just fine. Again, I find it hard not to compare not only with what's to come. I have a little bit of the feeling that I do with the first album here of going like, oh, Mezmerize is around the corner, dude.
Yeah.
But also comparing it to Toxicity, I feel like it sits somewhere between self-titled and Toxicity and doesn't outdo either. Or for my taste, I don't need to listen to this album. Like, it's genuinely a skip this album for me. I have some very fond memories of listening to Fuck the System with my friend Guy in high school. Other than that, I don't have any attachment to this album. I haven't formed a particularly good relationship in the last month with this album. Maybe with some extra time, it'll slide up to a B. I definitely don't think it's a D tier album, but stacked up to the rest of their stuff, I don't think I'll ever have any need to spin this, to steal this album or acquire it in any way, shape, or form.
On a slight tangent on Fuck the System, when they're in the bridge area where they're going, fuck the sys.
Yeah.
Going on with the Tunes Discord, plug. Where that was a current conversation today, I was just going, oh my God. I would not pull this below a B. I am very happy with my choice of B here, because if this album was on, I would certainly not change it.
Sure. I would say it's probably a...
I don't dislike it enough to say that. Ultimately, System of a Down writes songs of a quality that I'd still enjoy finding new material in, just because I'm not familiar enough with this album.
It's definitely not a quality thing for me. It's just do I enjoy listening to this album more than the self-titled album? No. So
that's fair.
That's where it sits for me.
That's fair. I still enjoy the message that these tracks have. It's, as I said, just very transparent. Unless I'm so blind that I'm not catching a deeper layer within these tracks, I feel like everything's presented so forward that it doesn't leave much to the imagination.
Fred says, steal this album as a fucking meme album, but the fact that these guys can make a meme sound good is god tier. Fair enough. That's fair. This is pre-Anchorman, you know. Daydream says, I want Serge to order a pizza for me. with Darren on backups. Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Let's have a look here. Alright, says, someone came into my dad's business selling a catalogue of burnt CDs and we got Steal This Album. When I ripped the tracks, they ended up in alphabetical order. Worst way to experience this album. Oh, wow. Would that really have affected your enjoyment of the album?
Yeah, I feel that the track listing is so choppy as it is.
Yeah, I don't... like, that's kind of a big negative for me too, is that I don't get any sense of cohesion or like, okay, this leads really nicely into this, or... by the time I get to the last track, I'm not like, oh, I experienced a well thought out, cohesive vision. I experienced an album of B-sides from a far better album.
It feels like it's a deliberate fever dream.
Yeah, sure. And if that's what you're into, then that's what you're into.
I mean, you are listening to System, so it's not outside the realm of a possibility that could be your mood.
True.
Absolutely.
Rubik's Q says, if you want to skip this album, why is it a C? Why not D? Because again, I don't think it's a quality issue. I think it's my personal enjoyment issue. It just doesn't strike me as definitely doesn't strike me as a D tier album. Just an album I'm probably not going to spin again anytime soon. I have spun the back 7 tracks a fair bit. I've spun them more than the first half because I know I enjoy the first half. Right. And I understand what they're doing. The back half is really trudgy. Like it's very mid to low tempo most of the way through. And this album as a whole really lacks the urgency. Or at least it's delivered so forward that by the time you get to, say, Roulette, Streamline, you're 16 tracks in and they haven't really done much fast tempo stuff for the last 25 minutes, which is... in system time, a good 8 songs. Yeah. Again, like, to compare it to Toxicity, I get to track 14. 15's a hidden track. I get to Aerials and I'm like, fuck, that flew by. Whereas here, I get to track 9 and I'm going, fuck me, dead. There's still 7 tracks left. Like,
I won't go that far. Like, New Guns has really grown on me.
okay.
Inner Vision, I quite enjoy.
Yeah, I will say too, this month just gone where we've been listening to these albums, has been an obscenely busy month for, I know for you, but for myself as well. And that can honestly affect my enjoyment of a record.
I can. At every moment, I've been looking for something to try and soothe me. Like, mostly I'm listening to music when I'm driving, and I'm trying to listen to something to stop me from having a panic attack this month. So still, his album hasn't been great for that. But, you know, there are some albums that have been, so that's okay.
All right. Daydream says, still this album feels like the B-side sequel album to Toxicity. And, I mean, which it
is.
Definitively is.
Yeah.
Lucas says, El Rosen says, I used to upload Trackmania replays to YouTube aligned with whatever Soad song went for the same duration. The one that had Soad's Boom on it, I think, got like 20,000 views. Fuck yeah, nice.
Nice. Yeah, it's a great track.
Yeah, well done.
And
well done to you, and well done to System of a Down. Shall we move on? I want to say some nice things about. I want to get to the next album for one thing, but I also want to say some nice things about the next album. Mezmerize, dude. All right, let's fucking get into it, man. Oh my god. Oh my god.
It's time to dance, chat.
It is time to dance.
Time to boogie.
Holy shit, dude. So Mezmerize, the first part of what is to be a double album. Mezmerize, I feel like it picks up where Toxicity left off and wakes me from my Steal This Album-induced slumber. Where Steal This Album felt like pacing was an afterthought, as in they thought about it after the album came out. Here, pacing is fucking paramount. Comes out of the gates after a brief intro track with the explosive BYOB into the galloping Revenga. The absurdly catchy and unrelentingly irreverent Cigarro is classic System in the best possible way, and it doesn't outstay its welcome. I think Radio Video features this new and wonderful emphasis on fun and showcases the interplay between Serge and Darren's vocals.
Yes,
beautifully.
Darren comes out swinging on this double album.
Oh my
This is
fucking
where
God.
they really feel like a duo as songwriters.
And I mean, on Radio Video, there's this call and response verse happening, massive chorus with their vocals, interweaving. And I feel like this Cocaine functions as like a System-sponsored mid-album interlude. It feels like let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves some coke. Like, it's fucking awesome. Violent Pornography takes everything set up by Radio Video and runs with it, creating this downright nutty sing-song, sing-along number before transitioning beautifully into this like flamenco-laced track question, which, fuck me, it is a masterful building of urgency and drama. I love how this song plays out. So fucking exciting. And I get
a mid-album where something could start lagging.
Good grief. Yeah. It just does not let up. That last chorus, it gets me emotional. It's fucking awesome. Old School Hollywood is probably the most bizarre track of the bunch, describing a celebrity baseball game that Darren played in.
With Frankie.
But with its...
Goes to Hollywood.
Yeah, but its embrace of electronic elements and its commitment to the 4 on the floor make it irresistibly dancey, and I think helps it earn a place on the record. And it feels consistent. Like, the whole album has this kind of dancey quality to it. And then finally, Lost in Hollywood closes proceedings out in a manner, I think, reminiscent to Aerial's, but by way of this more melodic, dual vocal-driven approach. And I think its use of clean guitar tone helps bookend the album and lend to this overall sense of cohesion. This is a fucking perfect album. It's an S.
Oh, yeah. The question is, Toxicity or Mezmerize, Connor? If you could only have one... what would you go for?
That's really hard. I think for my personal tastes, I love an album that's over and done within 40 minutes.
Yeah.
So I think maybe I'd pick Mezmerize because it's the shortest album of theirs.
It is. It's only 36 minutes long.
Yeah.
Which is...
and it's plenty varied.
Like, just a bit more than some bands' EPs.
I think it's got a good mix of...
Very impressive.
It's got a really great mix of like the kind of... sweet as a counterpoint to the aggressive So I feel like there's just a better mix of things and things that they do really fucking well in this album. I would probably pick Mezmerize.
All right, you've convinced me.
Yes, gun.
Yeah, dude. Mezmerize is their masterwork. I thought it was Toxicity all these years. Mezmerize is just it one-ups. I feel like Toxicity is the most accessible material, and each of the songs exist as singles and as so well as an album, which is incredible. Mezmerize just it takes that to another theatrical level. I feel that with Steal This album, System of a Down were experimenting quite a lot. They would have taken the framework from tracks from Toxicity and added a lot of instrumentation, which is a part of, I think, what gives it that cartoonish element, is that they are playing around with so many ideas and so many different instruments that it's hard to balance that and keep it cohesive. Here, they take what they take away from that, they learn from it a bit and refine it, and the end result is Toxicity Plus.
Refined is right. This feels like just
such
God mode.
Yeah, such an emphasis on that urgency. It's so charged. It's irresistible.
Yeah.
I think that This Cocaine Makes Me Feel Like I'm on This song is probably the weakest link for myself. In that, probably like Atwa might be for it. But really, it's in such good company, like immaculate company, that this is like S+ material.
Yeah, and it's 2 minutes, it's in and out. It's got a swagger to it that I really fucking like, that during the start.
Oh, there's so much swing through here.
Man,
it's like it chops between like 220 BPM urgency and really tasty swing sections.
Yeah. And again, it hasn't lost the I guess the satirical or the politically driven edge. But where I spoke about Toxicity having this kind of sardonic bile to it, like it's tongue in cheek, but it's fucking shaking you.
They're tackling more mature topics and being silly with it.
Yeah, it might be joking, but it's shaking you by the fucking scruff of the neck while it does it. Whereas this is, I don't know, more no less effective, but more fun. I don't know how else to describe
They make serious topics silly, but don't take away the importance of the topic.
Yeah.
And that's something that I feel they've struggled with in their career to this point.
Here it's
Still This album is, too transparent. Their self-titled is too separated on these ideas. This is a unity on all fronts.
Yeah,
this is System of a Down's peak.
Yeah, I think this is a masterful blending of everything that System does.
Yeah. Okay, we've got some controversial takes.
Yeah, I want to have a look.
Let's hit those.
I want to have a look at what people think. So Rubik's Cube says, I am going to judge you both heavily on this. All right. Controversial, I would have said A. Rubik's Cube. Reasoning. Question.
Yes.
Give us an answer. Curious to hear your thoughts.
Please.
Jack says BYOB is guaranteed to make me drunk. White dad wiggle in public. That's symptomatic of hearing that song. You try not to, I mean, again, you said about Toxicity being just like single after single after single. This is absolutely that, but concentrated to like a concentrated level.
It feels like they've
no song on this album, maybe save for Lost in Hollywood, because it's a bit of a.
I think it's just Darren's forward approach is like you can hear so much of this album in particular, or the double album feels like a Scars on Broadway demo.
Okay.
Even though I think there's still eclipses anything the Scars on Broadway do. It's so evident from these tracks that once you hear that, you go, okay, Darren had a real hand in this material. Yeah, that's all those vocal lines. It's so hooky all the way through.
Yeah, definitely. Rubik's Cube says, I love this album for what it brought, but for me, it was organised chaos, and even organised, it's still chaos. It feels a little out of order for me. That's why this album is an A for you. Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, I think I really love where everything sits on this album. I feel like it does feel organised to me, while still maintaining the essence of chaos that is System. And yeah, again,
I'm going to have a look at that in more detail. I want to see if I can arrange these songs at home after this in a way that I don't enjoy.
We have Mezmerize at home. That's a really that's a good idea. That's a good exercise.
Yeah. I want to say, like, come up with the worst arrangement you can, because honestly, I think it would still be decent. We'll find out.
Maybe I'll sit with Steal This Album and try and put it
in a way that does work, and I'll try and break this album. There you go.
Fun.
Still This Album could be Rearrange This Album.
All right.
And Mezmerize can be Alphabetized.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Shall we move on?
Let's bookends Mezmerize and move on to the next bookshelf. We have the hypnotic Hypnotize. And just as Mezmerize caught the world's attention, and certainly ours, Hypnotize put us all to sleep. I wish I could put it nicer, but no, it's I'm going to put this at B, but I feel like it's perhaps a step above Steal This Album. I didn't feel right putting Steal This Album at a C. I think you may be a little heavy-handed, my man. But it's all that blast beating, you know.
Look, I saw the opportunity to call it Skip This Album, and I seized it. All right, I'm sorry.
Yeah, of course. I find Hypnotize, in comparison to Mezmerize, is an excellent answer to the album. It's just not an answer that I'm always after. It takes on a far more reflective and meditative quality as a whole piece, and I do feel this album is very well realized. And I am very glad it exists. But as a full album, I feel that the material that's on it could be maybe more serviceable as an EP response. It's chock full of these light and harmonic jams. I'd say even at its heaviest, there's still a very wistful through line through all the tracks. And it is somewhat of a somber end to an otherwise very volatile career that makes this album feel a little, depending on how you look at it, could say it's a bit at odds with the rest of their discography, or it could be like a credits to the last hurrah that is Mezmerize. This at least is how I kind of I'm listening to
epilogue.
This Joel. Yeah, an epilogue. The band that was. It's so funny to say that after only 7 years, but they really did achieve so much during that time. Because after this they do, as I said, go on a 15-year release hiatus. They have released a few singles in the last few years to cover recent events. But breaking down this album, there are, I'd say, about half of the album are absolute standout tracks. Those for me are Kill Rock and Roll, Hypnotize, the title. Holy Mountains is a real sleeper for me that I absolutely adore. And Lonely Day and Soldier Side are an amazing way to cap out the album. I think this is the strongest closer in their discography.
Soldier Side as
a Lonely Day into Soldier Side.
Yeah, sure.
For me is such a double punch. It's a very emotional album for me. But I feel like it could almost be A, but I am just so enamored with their self-titled that I want it. It feels right having that in its own slot.
Sure. No, I understand that. Putting things in the tiered list, it does kind of.
Yeah, you go. Their debut album's just really special for me at the moment. I just feel like it's mine. It's my little treasure, Yeah.
You're precious.
Yes, absolutely. What do you think on Hypnotize, Connor? I think this is the most interesting album of their career.
Look, dude, this album has fucking big shoes to fill, like across the board, and unfortunately for me, it's yet another victim of in-wave syndrome for my personal tastes. But I think I would agree with most of what you said. In fact, it sits at a B for me as well.
Okay.
I mean, from the opening track, I think Attack, well, probably. I think demonstrably is more ferocious than BYOB, simply is not as memorable. The album as a whole, that feels emblematic of the album as a whole for me. It feels more akin to Steal This Album than a continuation of Mezmerize, for the most part. Especially for the first half of the album, which I think maybe the only track or two on there that I quite like from the first half of the record would be Kill Rock and Roll. if only for the fucking eat all the grass.
It's so fun.
And the mow down the sexy people line.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's classic.
Yeah.
It's classic system.
Yeah.
Almost falling into parody territory, however. The title track Hypnotize I very much like, and then I think from Holy Mountains through to the end of the album,
so close.
I really rate.
It's so close. Vicinity of Obscenity is one of the worst songs in their catalog.
Right, Vicinity of Obscenity that feels like that falls into like the chicken stew level.
Yeah,
of parody.
it does. Yeah,
but fuck if I didn't spin that song over and over and over again when I was 14. And it was the easiest one to show to your friends because you could be like, listen to these fucking silly lyrics.
Absolutely.
And they go, oh, this is cool.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm
old and grumpy now. It's too late for me.
I think for the most part, there's still some good shit to be had on this album. There's still some fun, but they're more often, especially for the first half, brief moments rather than full songs. And you know, some of the stuff that sticks with me is because it is that system parody territory. And it's similar to Steal This Album in that it's not much longer. It's a comparatively length album to the one that preceded it, but I'm checking my watch, which definitely has something to do with me and where I'm at listening to it.
You've got nowhere else to go.
I'm sorry,
you have to watch
Toxicity and Mezmerize take me out of whatever I'm thinking about. I'm utterly absorbed in those albums, completely my vocab's failing me here. It's not a conscious thing. I'm not like, all right, now I'm going to listen to Toxicity. I'm going to pay attention. It grabs me and it pulls me along. It's blissful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here it's a slog.
If you're after for something hypnotic, you can still find that on Mezmerize. You can find that in Lost in Hollywood.
Yeah, exactly. And I
it's
feel
still just as beautiful as anything on Hypnotize, and that's Hypnotize's focus. That's an MO for the back half, at least.
Yeah. And I really like the full-length Soldier Side track. I think it closes things out really nicely. I like the somber tone that it has. It's a really fucking cool track. And I like that it loops things back to Mezmerize really nicely, and I like that the physical albums slot together. That's a cool touch. But the preceding 35 minutes doesn't quite feel worth the journey for me 100% of the time. And again, if this wasn't on the heels of Mezmerize, and if this wasn't kind of put out as part of the same package, put out the same year, 6 months apart, I probably wouldn't be drawing such harsh comparisons. It would probably sit in an A. But here we are.
I think Hypnotize is very well realized.
Yeah?
I do.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably right. I don't doubt that they put out the album that they wanted to make. I don't think it's a misstep. I'm not on board for what they're offering on this album. And that's the thing that I was kind of alluding to earlier, is what I discovered about myself doing this list is I don't think I'm that big a System fan. I think I'm less of a System fan than I thought I was. I think I'm just a fucking huge fan of those two albums.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate the band. I love that
shows
this band,
just as much.
Yeah, I love that this band exists. They're a gem now and when they came out and forever. But yeah, those two albums are just so fucking good. I think they make a fan out of me, and then the others I'm not really there for.
Good one. I'd say that I am more of a fan than when I came in. That being said, there are two albums here that I had not really exposed myself to and only had caught the singles from. So there was a lot for me to learn. I'm less of a fan of the food material than I was when I came in. I went, oh, grow up. As I said, white suburban male time. Woo!
Some people need to pull their fucking shoes up and socks up, mate.
Absolutely. Come on, give it a better go next time. Come on, sport. What are you thinking?
Why do you have to do the silly songs?
Yeah. Yeah. We're over the fence at this point. It's done.
Speak for yourself. I'm 29, goddammit.
Yeah, hold on to it. You've got another good. You've got a solid 7 months left, Connor.
Yeah.
Hold on to it. Yeah. All right. I think I've given away enough of Connor's personal information. You can certainly log into all of his online credentials at this point.
True. Yeah. My password is I hate system. Let's see what chat thinks. Kale says Soldier Side hits really hard for me. Nice, dude. Daydream says, Lonely Day hit for me hard during 2020, but Soldier Side is one of the most beautifully emotional closers you could ever have for an album. Yeah, backed. It's definitely up there. I think I would agree with you in saying it's probably their best closer.
Yeah, it's very. I mean, I say that, then I keep looking at Mezmerize. I'm like, it's so good. Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing in A tier for Connor. Interesting. Oh, ... interesting. Fuck, I'm in trouble.
Ooh.
Hot take there, Connor. I find that more with Metallica fans more than System fans.
Where they
people are like
they will
certain albums that they
their
love,
albums. Yes,
but on the whole, they're not as big a fan as they thought they might be. Yeah, I mean, I still really appreciate System. I still like System, but I don't think
You've made a bold statement with that ranking.
I'm just not a diehard. Like those rankings feel right for me at the moment. I think if I spent more time with those 3 albums that I ranked a bit lower, maybe I would come to form a bit more of a relationship with those albums. I would appreciate them more, and I would, on the whole, consider myself a greater System fan than I do at time of recording. But for now, on the 5th of April 2022, this is where I'm at.
Mm-hmm. I think Hypnotize has the most pivot potential for me in an upwards trajectory. Otherwise, I think this is where my picks will stay for a while.
Fair enough. All right. Yeah. Well, let's get that poll going. Hey,
beautiful. What do you think, chat? How do we do for time thus far? I think we're under an hour.
I think we're under an hour. Oh fuck! I closed the dashboard thing. We're going to go over an hour.
We're almost there, chat. We're all going to make it, chat. We're all going to make it.
Twitch has changed the icons. I don't know which one the poll one is. There it is. Manage poll. Bad. Say everyone bad. Let's start that poll. Connor,
beautiful. And you watching on YouTube right now, do you feel that this is right? Please tell us how wrong we are.
All right, 2 minutes. Starting the poll. Feel free to funny vote if you don't have an opinion.
Always funny vote.
Feel free
even
to
if you do have an opinion.
For me, if you feel bad because I haven't won one of these things in so fucking long.
Please, Connor is.
I was winning. I had a hot streak going.
You did. You had a good record.
Where did I fuck up again? Was it Rammstein? I think it was Rammstein or maybe Opeth.
Oh yeah. And ever since then, it's been rough. Hard times for this egg.
Hard times.
An expired egg. Overdate egg. That's it. Right,
well,
tell us, chat, who do you agree with?
Have a think. Thanks, Matt. I voted for Luke so Connor couldn't win. Good one, man. Good one. It's really funny, though. Hey, do you recall from seeing them live any tracks that you heard live and didn't appreciate before seeing them live? Lonely Day is one that I did not have much of an appreciation for before seeing them live, and then hearing it live and hearing the crowd sing along was just like, oh my god.
I was so as I said before, a very trepidatious person. I was filled with doubt and fear that this band had not performed together in so long that they would come to perform together for the first time in years, or at least is that Darren and the bassists, guitarist and bassist, were performing together regularly with Scars, and Serge solo project had a few crossovers with drummer. But as a unit, I didn't think that they could be that cohesive live, and that they sounded amazing. There wasn't anything that struck out to me as, oh wow, this is new and exciting. More so as a wave of relief.
Yeah, right.
That they performed material as good as I could have hoped.
It's a fucking tie. Chaos reigns, dude. Appropriately so for the System episode. I'm gonna say let's take that and next month is a fucking tiebreaker.
That's it. We've got to do the whole thing in a Get Along shirt next month.
Both hosts bad. All right.
No one
chat,
wins.
Thank you very much. Hey, I'll take it. It's not a loss. So I'll take it.
I'm not going to give it.
Well, I mean, we did have some... Adam said he couldn't choose, so he just reported the poll. That could have been the deciding vote, goddammit.
Thanks, Adam. The ultimate funny vote.
Bad. The father of the boy who doesn't win. We're gonna have to talk to our dads, dude.
Oh, no.
First time I ever vote, and it's a tie.
Mike, you did this.
Good grief. Tiebreaker is thoughts on the new EP.
Ooh.
I don't have thoughts on the new EP.
I do. I win.
No. God damn it. Next month we'll decide this. So it's my pick. My turn to pick.
Yeah.
And I mean, let's try and be topical for once. We're covering a band that hasn't released anything substantive in 15 years.
Yeah.
Let's cover a band that put something out last month. I want to hit Ghost. The
She.
Scooby-Doo Blue Oyster Cult
All right.
themselves.
Fantastic. How many albums are we in for with Ghost?
5. So another 5. So
Neat.
hey, maybe we'll get in and out within an hour again.
All right, fantastic.
We might make a pattern of this.
There's going to be so much to talk about with Ghost.
I am really
Don't
excited
even
for
start.
this one. This is going to be fun.
This has so much history and lore.
Lore, absolutely.
Yeah.
Big block letters. Before
I am the law.
Before we sign off, do you have any expectations for Ghost?
Well, I'll quickly address my ground floor with Ghost was only a few years ago, the most recent, just pre-COVID, when we could still have live performances in Australia internationally.
Right.
And Ghost seeing them live was my turning point into enjoying them. For 4 albums worth, I suppose. I didn't get the hype. They're a very easy band to jump on the hated train for. So I was on the caboose for a fair while. Didn't get the marketing, the gimmick.
Yeah.
And gimmicks ahoy, truly. And once I saw them live, I went, oh my god, this is one of the best shows I've ever seen from a band I've been ragging on for a fair while. Shit, better curb that. Yeah, so I absolutely swallowed my words. And I feel like I'll be swallowing more than just words next month.
Excellent. All right, well.
See it on RedTube.
We've got all that to look forward to and more next month then, chat. Thanks so much for tuning in. As always, really appreciate it. If you watch the VOD, thank you. Leave a comment and share it around and all that shit.
Cheers.
We'll see you next month for spooky Blue Oyster Cult Scooby-Doo shit.
Yeah, give us your hottest takes. Thanks. Stay tuned.
Please. Bye.